How in the world do you pitch Airbnb to a landlord? That's exactly what we're talking about here on the Fearless Investor Podcast right now. Hey everyone, welcome into the Fearless Investor Podcast. You're listening to me, Kyle Stanley, and I have a Facebook group, first of all, that I want to talk about. And the whole reason you're listening to this episode today is because I went live on this Facebook group and I'm sharing what I did on this Facebook group with you. So this is not a topic I usually give away for free because this is really golden information. But I polled my Facebook group. By the way, it's Airbnb Masterminds. So if you have a chance, if you're on Facebook, go look up Airbnb Masterminds, add yourself to the group. And I polled my group and I said, hey, what is one thing that you want to learn the most about? And I gave them a few different topics: how to find leads, how to build a team. I think another one was how to analyze the deal. And then I said, or how to talk to landlords about Airbnb. And resounding, that's what they wanted. So that's what we're talking about today. And I'm going to give you that information for free. Just add yourself to the Facebook group as well. And make sure you go to fearlesskyle.com and download our Airbnb profit calculator so that all this information that I give you today can be used and put into action. The Airbnb profit calculator is the best way to do that. It's right there on our homepage at fearlesskyle.com. Now let's get to this live video that I did with my Facebook group right here on the Fearless Investor Podcast. All right, so I'm coming to you through Zoom in case I got to share my screen on anything, but I've got my Facebook Live up on the other side of my screen here. And first of all, I'm excited for you guys because you're part of this Airbnb Masterminds group, and this is not something I usually do for this group. However, call it feeling in the holiday spirit. I am going to be sharing with you how to talk today about Airbnb to landlords. And I see Michael's joining us. What's up, Michael? If you are joining us, do me a favor and comment on this live video right now and let us know where you're coming from and if you own or operate any Airbnbs. If so, how many? Drop us a number. And get ready to ask your questions because for the next 15 minutes, I'm going to teach, but I'm also going to respond to your questions. I'm also going to be repurposing this for my podcast. So going to be answering a lot of questions for people that might be listening on this at a later date. So I sent out a message or a post earlier today asking you guys what you wanted to learn. And unanimously, everyone asked me, how do you talk to landlords about Airbnb? And that is always the thing that I wasn't surprised that you guys picked that one because that's always the one that people are like, I just don't see how you convince a landlord to let you rent out your place on Airbnb and then sublease it on, or rent out and then sublease it on Airbnb. And I totally understand where you're coming from on that. But today I'm going to give you some key tips on how to be able to get over any of those objections that landlords have. And I'm also going to talk to you about something just really quickly here in the beginning that, maybe you know a landlord that doesn't necessarily want you to rent it to you, but wants to partner with you and wants you to manage it for them, and they pay for it, or maybe you split the cost of furnishing and now you're splitting profits or you're charging them like a property manager. Well, let me just start with that really quickly because we're going to breeze through that one, but then I'm going to get into arbitrage. And so that very easily, guys, how you do that. First of all, you go to my website, fearlesskyle.com, and you download the Airbnb profit calculator. Right there on the homepage, you just put in your name and email, and it's going to email it right to you. Secondly, you're going to get a membership with AirDNA. And if you aren't familiar with AirDNA, you can Google it, or you can just go, straight to my link, which is bit.ly/AirDNA link. That is like the MLS of Airbnb, and it's going to teach you and show you exactly how to comp an Airbnb in your area. Then you're going to compute the numbers in the calculator based on the research you do on AirDNA. You're going to add in your management fee, or you're going to, maybe if you're splitting it, you don't have to put any fees in there. And then you're just going to set a meeting with the landlord, sit down with that calculator and be like, hey, look, this is what we could possibly make together. Easy as that. Okay. So very surface level. I'm not going to go into how that meeting looks. I'm basically, guys, I'm teaching you today how to be able to get to the lead, get to someone that is serious about renting you their place so you can sublease it on Airbnb, or allowing you to manage through Airbnb. Again, start dropping your questions if you've got any here on the Facebook Live comment section. But here's the deal. Arbitrage, just what you came for today. So first of all, it's a mindset that you're going to be setting up meetings, building relationships, and you need to be professional about it. Okay. So you can't, first of all, like the idea that you're going to convince a landlord that don't even know, and over a phone call, it's just not going to happen. So the first thing I'm going to encourage you to do is when you're looking at leads, and we're not going over how to find leads today, but when you're looking at leads and you're calling landlords, your goal is not to tell them what you're doing. Your goal is to tell them, hey, I would like to come see the place. I saw your listing on Zillow, or I saw your listing on Facebook Marketplace. I'd love to come see it. That's all you're doing. And at that meeting, you're developing a relationship. Now, if you want to learn how to do just that, how to develop the relationship, how to set up the meeting, how to get to that point where you're like, I'm setting up meeting after meeting, I'm finding leads, any of that, do me a favor, drop an emoji, drop a heck yes, drop something right now so that I can talk to you later about how to do that exactly. But what you're really going to do with these landlords is you're going to speak to their pain points. So if you're a landlord out there, or if you know landlords out there, you know what the pain points of being a landlord are. Most commonly, it is collecting rent, especially getting it on time. Getting calls about minor issues, especially like late at night, it's 11 p.m. and you're getting a call from a tenant who's like, hey, this happened, the water heater's out, or hey, the I don't know, the towel rack fell off the wall, or the door is loose on the hinge, and you're just like, this is not what I signed up for. Okay, these are pain points that landlords have. Another one is dealing with difficult personalities. You get a tenant in there who seems great, and then suddenly, as soon as they become your tenant, they're tenantzilla. And then lastly, fixing properties on the turnovers. I know a lot of people who hate that part, that they got to repaint, they got to clean the place, they got to maybe patch up some things that the last tenant messed up. And these are all pain points for landlords. I see we've already got a question from Michael Crockett. Do you approach property management companies or just individual landlords? Michael, you can eventually get to a property manager, but I'm going to just tell you right now, they have a long totem pole to go up in order to make sure that actually works out. Most people, if they talk to property managers, are going to get maybe one yes out of like 30 companies or 30 property management leads. Versus if you go straight to the source to a landlord, you should be right around the 1 out of every 7 to 10 are going to say yes for a landlord. So that's a good question though, because that brings up a good point. You shouldn't get a yes from every landlord. It should be about 1 out of every 7 or 10. Because even though what I'm going to show you today, you'll be like, wow, why are landlords not going for this every single time? They're just scared of what they don't know, right? And especially as a property manager, you're making decisions for landlords, and that puts your reputation on the line. So sometimes that's very difficult for property managers. So just talked about the pain points: collecting rent, getting calls about minor issues, dealing with difficult personalities, fixing properties over during a turnover. Those are all very common pain points. So when you bring up the problem and you ask these landlords, hey, would you like to have a better tenant that you're not going to have to deal with these issues on? And you identify that these are problems for them. Now you can be the solution. And that's all sales is, guys. It's just providing solutions to a common problem. It's not about having the perfect sales pitch. It's not about going out there and talking to the most people. It's about having constructive conversation. I mean, part of it is actually talking to most people, but when you have constructive conversations and you identify issues and how you can be a problem solver, that's the perfect sale right there. So if I had a landlord that I've identified that they hate collecting rent, they hate dealing with difficult personalities, they hate doing the turnover on fixing the properties, now I can share with them how I am able to get rid of all those problems for them. So I'm going to pay you early and often. What I mean by that is all right, you want to collect rent on the 1st, I'm going to pay you rent on the 28th because I want you to know that you're at the top of my mind for paying before anyone else because I know the situation that you're in. I'm going to pay you often, meaning I don't make my money really in year 1. I make my money in year 2, 3, 4, and 5. So to me, if I came in here and I was only here for 6 to 12 months, that's not beneficial for me. That's not the relationship I want to build with you. I want to be your best tenant for years and years to come. Number 2, I'm not going to call you with minor issues. If one of my tenants says, hey, again, just a common thing, the door is loose. If that was happening for you with a long-term tenant, you would have to call the repairman. You'd have to make sure that he's getting it taken care of, and then you would have to pay for it. For me, that's a little minor issue that's under $100. I'm going to call the repairman. I'm going to have that fixed. I'm going to take care of it, and you're not even going to know about it. I'm not even going to call you letting you know that I did that because I know you want your property in top condition. So I'm going to do that for you. Then, of course, I go on to tell them if you have major, like we just had one today where the water heater went out. That's not a guest's fault. That's not a minor thing. That is a landlord's responsibility. So I did call that landlord with that issue, and she paid for it. I'll be your best tenant because at the end of the day, I'm not going to be a personality that you have to deal with. Because, and I'll prove this to you over time, but because I'm going to be your best tenant and paying on time and not calling you with minor issues, you're going to want to re-sign me year after year after year. And then when let's say this relationship ever ends and you're worried about the turnover, I'm going to give you the property back in either the same or better condition than you gave it to me with, because I've got cleaners going in there every single week. I've got eyes on that property with you. What you have right now is you have a tenant that goes in there and they stay for 12 months. And then you get the surprise and you see all these people or all these issues with the house that you didn't even know about. With me, one minor issue, we're getting it taken care of right away because we have a standard that we have to meet for each one of these guests that comes in and wants to stay at our place. If we have issues with the house, they need to get taken care of and we're taking care of them. So again, we're returning a property to you in either better or the same condition as what you gave it to us as. So this is all part of the conversation I'm having. And if you notice, it's a conversation. It's not me talking at them. I've developed a relationship. Even if it only takes 5 minutes, I've created a new friendship. Maybe I even already knew this person, and I'm asking them about what their pain points are. What are the things you like about being a landlord? What are the things you don't like about being a landlord? What if I could fix those problems for you? What if I could be your best tenant? And I'm just providing those solutions. So let's see. Michael has another question. Would you recommend securing arbitrage agreements in your own name? No, I would. I would do it in an LLC. Michael, I have everything that flows through my LLC, all of my payments on Airbnb, all of the rent that's being paid to the landlord is coming from my LLC. Ideally, the landlord says, yeah, that's fine. We can do it through your LLC. And because basically I am a management company, I'm not really living there myself. But if a manager or if a landlord is really adamant about it, at the end of the day, I'm fine with doing it in my name. But that would be something I would probably go to like a local lawyer that you have and ask them what would be the best case for you. And maybe team with your insurance guy too on that. Okay. So moving on again, guys, if you have any questions, Michael's got some good ones here. Thanks for joining and asking, Michael. But if you have any questions, make sure you're dropping them down on the comments here. And if you're listening to this on a later date and you've got other questions, feel free to email me info@fearlesskyle, or make sure you're joining our Airbnb Masterminds group on Facebook. Okay. So common objections. The two that I get the most, the obvious one is, well, how do you keep partiers out? Because these landlords, they know the neighbors. They don't want to get calls from the neighbors. I have a very strict pre-qualification process that I put all of my tenants through. And this has been from gathering information for years and years. And this is what I am saying to them. You might be brand new. You need to figure out right away a pre-qualification process. You can't go in there blind. But you need to be able to confidently tell them, we just don't get issues with partiers because we make sure that we know what the reason is that they're coming. We make sure we see what all the reviews are. And we also, if we feel like this is someone that could create some problems, we're asking them for an ID and we're asking them for all the names of their their guests. So if you want to learn more about what my pre-qualification process looks like, once again, drop an emoji, drop a heck yes. I want to know so that I can go ahead and connect with you, DM you, and we can talk a little bit more about that. So that's really what I'm sharing with them is we get the chance to really look at these things. Now, what then I would say to them is the great thing is, let's say there is a party, we get to kick them out right away. 100% getting Airbnb on the line. They're calling them, they're getting the guest out, and it's a short-term stay. And so for that reason, if you have a 12-month guest that's going to be doing parties all the time, you can't kick them out. But with a short-term guest, one party, one noise complaint, hey, you're out. And so that's how I'm really dealing with that objection. The other objection is, as a landlord, they're asking, how am I protected? And this is usually an insurance question. I'm not an insurance professional, but I will tell you this. You're going to be covered by 3 forms of insurance. 2 of them are actual insurance. I'm going to have a renter's policy renting from you. You're going to have an updated owner's policy. And what I mean by updated is you're going to go to either your insurance professional, or I've got a guy on my side. Make sure you get a guy on your side that knows what an Airbnb rental insurance looks like. And basically what that just states is there's the possibility of short-term rentals on there. So it covers you if that does happen. At least that's what I have experienced through my insurance. Again, shop around, talk to who you need to in order to get that person on your team. But then we have this thing called the Airbnb host guarantee. It's $1 million of damage and liability insurance that if someone gets hurt on the property, if someone steals it or someone burns it down, you're covered for $1 million worth of insurance as long as we can prove that that was the guest that was there. And that's a real simple process. And I share with them, how I've been able to be reimbursed on situations that just like that, where there's been issues and I get the money back and Airbnb doesn't hardly ask any questions. So that is, guys, super, super like surface level here, but that is the big thing. So let's just recap really quick. We're talking about pain points, having conversations, building relationships with these landlords. So you build a relationship, whether it takes 5 minutes or 5 months, and you're basically creating some sort of foundation that this person can trust you is the big thing. And then you're pitching this, but you're doing it conversationally. You're asking them, so, let me ask you a question. What are the things that you like about being a landlord? What are the things that you don't like about being a landlord? You find those issues that they have and you show them through Arbitrage what you can do to be a solution for them. And then you're going to get those common objections. The most common being, again, how am I protected and how do you make sure that you don't have any problem guests coming in, no partiers, and you can deal with those objections through the ways that I just shared with you. So what I would say here is if you are just getting ready to get started in Airbnb, go to my website, fearlesskyle.com/Airbnb host. This is a site that shows you everything you need to know about just getting started with Airbnb. Plus at the bottom, we have a brand new course that we are dropping on December 8th, and it's got a 20% discount until December 20th. All you have to do is click on register now. By the time if you're watching this on replay, the course might be live, but if you're doing this right now, you can actually pre-register for the course. And this is a course that's literally going to take you through point A through point Z of how to do everything in this business, especially how to master, automate, and scale it. And so I'm really excited about this. I'm bringing this to the public now because we've had some students that behind the scenes have gotten really great results from it. And now I just feel like it's a product that will really get you results too. So we're releasing it to the public. I'm really excited about that. So, but either way, there's free resources on our website, including shopping lists, the profit calculator, and a lot of number of different information that you could really dive into. So again, fearlesskyle.com/Airbnb host. Would love for you to go check that out and for you to check out all the resources, but continue to post on this page. If you're watching later, just go ahead and reach out, info@fearlesskyle.com. Would love to be able to talk with you. So guys, thanks so much for joining us tonight. And I hope this was very helpful in the arbitrage model of Airbnb. And like I say on my show, go out there and conquer the world of investing. We'll talk to you later. Okay, there you have it. So very surface level stuff. And as I talked about in there, we do have a course that we are launching. And the best way for you to go ahead and get registered for that course, while it's still at the 20% discount up until December 20th, All you have to do is go to fearlesskyle.com/Airbnb host. And right there at that page, you can download the course. It's right there. So basically, the course is going to be a lot more expensive as we continue to go, but starting out at $997. And that's going to be the cheapest price that it is at any time during the lifetime of this course. So that page will also show you everything that you're getting with the course. It has some videos from me and also from some of our students. But either way, when we talk about talking to landlords today, I think that the biggest thing, like I mentioned there, is just understanding the pain points of the landlords and being able to share a solution to them. If you can just be in that mindset. And if you notice, I didn't give you a script. I didn't give you like the from start to finish, here's what a meeting looks like, because it's more of a mindset that if you can just be in this problem solving mindset for a landlord, it's going to be more conversational. It's going to be more related, relative to them, so that they know that, like, hey, you understand what they're going through, because it's all the things that you don't talk about when you get into real estate. Like, oh, real estate cash flow, $200 a door, just get, 50 doors and you got $10,000 of cash flow. Yeah, you got $10,000 of cash flow of problems too with tenants. And so these landlords have all sorts of struggles that they're going through, and they need easier tenants, and you can be that solution. So once again, just go over to fearlesskyle.com/Airbnb host, and that will be the place that you can check out all of our good resources, from the calculator, the how to get started, and also our course as well. Excited to see you join us here on the Fearless Investor Podcast next time. For now, just go out there, conquer the world investing. Talk to you later.